Hi, this is Zak Drake from CanXL, and welcome to another episode of Trainer Spotlight, where we connect with top professionals from the soccer industry to uncover tips, tactics, and tricks to help you thrive with soccer business and support the next generation of soccer players. Today, I'm excited to welcome Dennis Thompson, widely known as Trixafa, to our show. A freestyle footballer, entertainer, and dedicated coach, Dennis is celebrated not only for his dynamic skills, but also for his joyful spirit and commitment to giving back to the community. From his roots in Jamaica to becoming a soccer content creator based in Canada, Dennis has inspired countless individuals through his performance and charitable work with organizations like Football for the World. Join us as he shares his unique journey and insights into both the art of soccer and the business of sports. Dennis, welcome to Trainer Spotlight. Thanks for joining us today.
Zach, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so we actually met in the most appropriate place. It was on the pitch back in, I think, 2019. This was doing some training on one half of the pitch, and I think I just wrapped up a training session with a client, and I went to train solo by myself on the other side and kind of saw each other from across the pitch, and then eventually met up and exchanged content information. And I've been following this guy ever since. I love his energy. And yeah, you're just a great guy, Dennis. So I'm really excited to pick your brain a bit here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, man. And for me, it's just like that. Once I see someone with a soccer ball, it brings me, it attracts me to them. And then once we start talking and get to understand what each other are about and, you know, how much you want to give back and how much you've gained. So that's what it is for me, really and truly, you know what I'm saying? Because as you know, we're both football lovers. So
absolutely. Yeah. Like football absolutely unites people, connects people. And it's brought a lot of fun connections in my life, including you. And I'd love to dive into a couple of questions about the fun you've been having with your soccer journey. So to kick us off, can you start by telling us a bit about yourself, your background in soccer, and your journey to becoming essentially a soccer celebrity in the GTA?
Well, it all started off, long story short, born and raised in Jamaica. My passion was always to be within football. Didn't know where it was going to take me, right? I'm a big believer in just do the right things and the right things will happen, right? I've learned that over the years, but that have always been a thing with me. Moved from Jamaica when I was about 14, 15 years old. Came to Canada, you know, got involved more into soccer. Being in Jamaica, I didn't play for a club or nothing. I was still young. The club scene in Jamaica is a bit different. The competition was high. Not a lot of teams, so it was hard to get on a team. But moved here in Canada, played youth soccer growing up in all different parts of the GTA. Got familiarized with a lot of different people, a lot of different coaches. Played high school soccer, college soccer, and then start playing in the Ontario Soccer League, right there. And then right after that, I started getting some people asking me questions like, hey, would you like to play pro? You know, reaching out and want to help me to do this, want to help me do that. As I was like just hearing about all of that kind of stuff, I got introduced to freestyle soccer, right? So freestyle soccer was a group that was formed long time ago. Like even when I was a kid, you know, they brought me on and they introduced me to that freestyle world. I did not realize or know if I was able to even do a lot of this stuff. I was a decent soccer player. I've always considered myself as a decent player. I wouldn't consider myself like, you know, like highly, but a lot of people speak highly of me whenever I play, like the way how my style and everything. So it started to show that I have more in my locker that I didn't know. So someone brought that out in me, right? So given the opportunity to freestyle, and as I was doing that 2 years after, like 2 years in doing freestyle, then I actually got another interest of me to go play professional in Central America, right? Did that for a little while, you know, started traveling massively. I got a call from my agent to go and start doing more freestyle, right? On a higher scale. So I put my soccer career on pause to go and take on freestyle, you know, on a wider and bigger scale, right? So, and ever since then, you know, it's just history, you know, my favorite player to break it down so you guys understand my soccer, the love for my soccer. It started through Ronaldinho. So you can tell where all of this came from, right? So watching Ronaldinho and all that kind of stuff, seeing him inspiring people through football, and he can do some freestyle stuff. So, that really, break it down for me. And I'm a true believer in loving what you do, because once you love it, it will love you back. And, that's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. Can you elaborate a little bit more on, so you're now freestyle soccer, you have opportunities to, perform, to be an entertainer. Where does the private coaching and kind of passing the baton to the next generation come in with that journey?
Well, with that, with the freestyle and the private training and stuff like that, I find when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of like mentorship within coaches. So I found a space where I can teach the players what they need. And also my biggest thing is to ask questions, ask the players questions so to see how much they know, because I'm a strong believer. If you understand and know what you're going for, you know what I'm saying? And if I can help you to get there and to understand the individual, it makes it easier, right? Because you can have someone that say that, they're a great striker, but everything that they do, it says, either you're a central mid or you're a defensive player. I break it down and I show them that, hey, the type of player that you seem like you are to me, right? It could be this. You might see and think that you are this, but in all actuality, you falls into this category, right? But you're still playing the game. But a lot of people idolize only attacking players and not realize there's so much more. And that's why I try to open their eyes to other positions that they're capable of playing, and it will benefit them as an individual. Because I always say to fit in a great team, you gotta be a great individual, right? So I help them to get to that level where mentally they can prep themselves. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just like, oh yeah, doing this and just showing up at a session. No, I want to know what you're looking for. And I ask questions to see if you understand, what you're trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? And one of my biggest thing is I go and I watch the players play, right? But they don't know that I'm there. So when I see them in my next session, I ask them questions again. What happened in the game? Even if they did great, I want to know if they understand what happened in the game. Sometimes depends on the age. Some of them, they're not paying attention to a lot of stuff. They're just out there and they're just playing. And I love that. And I said, now we're going to start to learn how to pay attention to what's going on, because then you can start to level up, not just your physical skills, but your IQ. You'll gain so much more information while you're playing.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. I think it makes a lot of sense as well, having that outsider mentorship perspective to help guide you in ways that you yourself don't see. Of course, from a young age, kids, they haven't developed their soccer philosophy, may not have a full understanding of tactics or individual tactics. But a player like myself growing up, I was always a center midfielder. I got moved maybe defensive mid a little bit, attacking, wherever. But it actually took one coach that slotted me in a fullback position and explained to me why he thought that was the best position for me. And, for the next decade and a half almost, I excelled in that position. And that's what actually led me to playing at the pro level. And so I totally agree with you on the mentorship side of things. I love how you play that kind of sneaky coach, not just, being there to support them during a session, like private sessions, but you're doing that extra effort to support them and get to know them on a deeper level as a player by going and watching them play. I love that as a tactic.
Yeah, I feel like it is very important in that way, because if I tell you that, hey, I'm gonna come watch you, I'm a scout or a coach that, on a team that you want to be on, you're going to play a totally different ball game. You know what I'm saying? You're going to play a totally different ball game that is not really showcasing who you actually are. You're putting on a front. You're putting on this extra show, right? So as you mentioned that, like, I grew up in Jamaica playing and stuff like that. You know, I tried out for one team and I was playing right back or left back. When I moved to Canada, they saw my skills. They saw my speed. They put me up front, right? I score goals, but mentally and everything, I am a defensive player. I love that defensive role. So one coach saw that, you know, like we were playing a game and we lost the first year in the finals. And he said, Dennis, I need you up front. And I said, huh? And I said, okay. He said, go up front, you know, do your thing. I scored one goal. He said, Dennis, go back. We won 1-0. When he did that, I was like, that was intelligent. That was intelligent move from the coach. And it took me a very long time to really understand what he did. But he didn't even explain to me what it was. He just told me something and I followed. But if he had explained that to me, I think I would have done even more, or maybe I'd have tried to do way too much. So sometimes less is more. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So this is a nice segue into talking about your philosophy and approach for training. So like in our previous conversation, we actually talked a little bit about like juggling or freestyle tricks and how that plays into training. So can you describe your training philosophy and how it's evolved over the years?
My philosophy is always mind, body, and ball. If you can control this, you can control your body, you can control the ball. I said, if the ball is just on the ground, it doesn't move until we move it with our body. It does not move the way how I want if I understand what I want. You understand what I'm saying? So my philosophy is pretty much control, the ultimate control, ultimate ball control, controlling your body, knowing what you want to do and making it happen. So I'll kick off my sessions like, hey, so do you know how to do keep-ups? And they go, I know, my coach, we never really focus on keep-ups. And I said, that's fine. Fair enough. A lot of time coaches only focus on like, you know, getting the players together as a team. They're not really building the individuals, right? As I said earlier, to be on a great team, you got to build great individuals, right? You can have a great team, but if you don't have individuals that can play within whenever there's things happening, your team's going to crumble, right? So I always, you know, teach them how to do keep-ups. And so a lot of time they know who I am and they're like, hey, so can you teach me a freestyle? I said, can you do 10 keep-ups? They go, yeah. I said, what's the max you can do? They go, maybe 100. I said, okay, try to do 50 in this 4x4. I said, that's going to tell you how much control you have in doing 50 keep-ups, right? If you can stay within that 4x4, okay. If you can't stay between that 4x4, I give you a 10x10. If I got to go 20, I give you 20. And they go, no, not 20. Right? What, you think I have no control? Right? But I always want them to understand there's different ways of success, right? Don't think that I learned how to control the ball in this same spot in one day. It took me time and time. I had to control myself. Where do I want to be? Where do I want that ball to stay? Control this, control my body, and control the ball, and understand the touches in between that, which is your body. You know what I'm saying? So my philosophy is full on control, build yourself as an individual, master the ball, master yourself, then master the ball.
That's fire. I love it. Absolutely agree with control and with that individual approach. Of course, with CanExcel, when we do our one-on-one training, part of like the pillars of CanExcel, number one is of course ball mastery. You have to be able to control the ball and manipulate it in the ways that you like, you know, in a controlled environment. And I think, and another aspect of CanExcel training is that individualized approach, whether it's, you know, understanding individual tactics, your positional awareness, or just developing yourself as an individual to really excel and be that, top player on your team that can make things happen. Because like you said, you can have a team full of players that can play well together, but you're going to need those individual efforts sometimes to really take your team to get over a hump, be the difference maker. So that individual piece, I totally agree with as well.
100%. Because if I say, okay, Zach, you're gonna beat this guy, you're gonna play the ball down the wing, and if that's all you know how to do, I don't need that. I need for you to open your brain. I need for you to understand, as you said, when you see the player you're about to cut it, do you know how to pass the ball now instead of just down the line on an angle inside, so your player could run onto it, right? But your team gotta have that individual understanding as well of reading between those lines. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking. And you know what the crazy thing is? We sometimes limit the amount that we give certain players because here in North America they're not at the age, right? And it's not. I don't believe it's age. I believe it's understanding. So if you give them the information and run it, and no matter, I don't care if you lose, run it, do it. It's the effort that gives you the knowledge. People talk about it all the time. Failure is the key to leveling up, the success. If you don't try something, you don't know if you can do it. It is straight fact. You know what I mean? If I didn't try, someone to go back to when I just started freestyling, a guy I met through playing soccer, started doing freestyle, he introduced me to it. Hey, Dennis, come in, bro. I feel like you have that, you have that style that you can become a freestyler as well, And I'm like, are you crazy, bro? I can't do that stuff. You see how difficult that is? And he goes, no, I'm telling you, like, I feel like you have it. And I'm like, nah, bro. Nah, there's no way. And he goes, okay. A year passed again. He comes back at me again. And he goes, Dennis, you have to come. Like, just give it one try. Bro, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can do it. I was holding myself back when others were seeing, I'm saying that's why having a coach that can see your potential and help you to build that individual. You see what I'm saying? So he did that for me. I said, okay, I took the bait and I said, okay, I'm coming in. And he goes, you're going to learn so much. And here I am. Now I'm teaching kids this kind of stuff. I'm teaching young adults these kind of stuff. But I'm like, I did an event one time at a banquet for a team party. The kid was just on me. Like, as soon as I walked in the door, he knew who I was. He was just on me, like, not leaving me alone for a second. If I go to the washroom, he's standing at the door waiting for me like a bodyguard, right? So he's like, how do you know how to do it? How long does it take you to? And he's just going on and on and on. So I said, okay, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to call this guy up in one of my show, after my performance. I finished my performance, like, doing my stuff. So then I call people up. So I said, okay, let me get, two players. And then he goes, I don't see his hand up. So I said, you, come here. And he goes, me? No. I said, no. Come here for a second. Just come here. And I brought him in and I brought someone else in. So I said, all you're going to do is bounce the ball and catch the ball between your knees. His first thing to say is, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. I said, but you haven't even tried it yet. So you're saying that you can't do it. Right? And he goes, because it's so hard. Like, how am I supposed to do this? And I said, pay attention to the details. Okay. I'm going to give it to you. It's nice and easy. I said, watch me. I'm going to drop the ball just in front of me. I'm going to make one slight step, open my knees. And as the ball falls, I'm going to catch it quickly. He goes, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. I said, okay. After 3, 1, 2, 3, boom, he caught it. His face went like this. His jaw dropped. The whole place went crazy. And I said, so you just did it. He was still like stunned. He was like, oh my God, I just did it. I said, don't drop your head before you even give it a try. Right? Especially if you've given the details of how to actually execute it. And was it luck? Who knows? Because I'm telling you, I'm trying to give adults that, and they can't get them all to save their life because themselves, they're thinking about all the pressure, the kids that are watching them. They're like, oh my God, I can't mess up. And I said to them, hey, sometimes I do my shows and I mess up, but nobody realizes when I mess up because I don't make it a scene. Oh my God, I dropped the ball. I can't believe I dropped the ball. I said, playing soccer, you lose the ball, you go, bro, oh my God, I lost the ball. No, you fix it. Boom. You fix the problem. Boom, boom. Come back up. And one time someone approached me and it was a police officer. He watched me do a performance and he saw me mess up. And he came up to me after the show. He goes, I saw when you messed up. I said, you saw? He goes, yup. And he goes, but you're such a professional, man. You made it look like it was a move. I said, that's the whole idea. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even a mess up. It's just the ball just dropped, fix it, boom, come back up. Right? So my biggest thing is to don't drop your head before you even give it a shot. You know what I'm saying?
For real. I love that. You can never underestimate how big mental control is. As you mentioned before, control the mind, control the body, but mental toughness, peak performance, all of these things, it's so important to teach as young of an age as they can soak it into their brain because, you know, they got social media, they got peers telling them they're not good enough, things like that. So being, you know, diligent with practicing mental toughness things like telling yourself that you can do it, or one of the biggest things is the win or learn mentality. Like for me, it's not mistakes, it's an opportunity to learn something, because otherwise people are so afraid of making mistakes they might not even try things. So I love that, and just it touches on your ability to coach players, and you know, you need to be able to coach well to instill that confidence in other people and share those details so that it makes sense to them, so that they can actually execute it and then build their confidence. Like imagine you didn't get those minor tips. Yeah. Then he certainly wouldn't have been successful. And it takes a good coach to be able to see those fine details, whether it's in freestyle juggling or in a private session where your eye is constantly on them. Like, what is their shooting technique? Where is their foot? Like, how is their body orientation? Fine details for coaching. And then as well, the mental component. As a coach, it's our job to not just train their technique, but to mentor them to help their mindset so that they can take on not just football, but of course in life, be prepared, have that optimism, be persistent, like set big goals, challenge yourself, all those things. It does come from coaching.
And I like that. Like I like what you said. Set big goals in coaching. You have to, depends on who you're talking to, and I'm not talking about age. I'm talking about like depends on the individual. So setting big goals sounds very far fetched for some individuals. Like mentally, they're like, oh my God, I'll never get there, because I tell them, my guy Casey from what's it called? What's this thing called? Final Third. I love his slogan, 1% better each day. Bro, I saw that and I was like, because all you need is 1% each time you try something. The end, as I said, how I started, I just love playing football. I just want to improve. I didn't see nothing of it, but I just love being there. People see my stuff now. They're like, bro, is there anything with the football that you can't do? And I said, why? They're like, but everything I throw at you, it's just like it's like nothing. I said, no, it's because I understand the football. I understand the football and I know my capability, and I try my best. So sometimes my best to me sometimes is like, and sometimes people are like, bro, what? And I'm like, nah, that was all right. And they're like, are you crazy, bro? I said, I know what I'm capable of. If I practice this, I'll do 100 times better. And that's when I go, you never even practiced this? And it looked like that. And I said, again, remember, I've been doing this for a very long time, but it is just different ways of kicking the ball. But you have to practice it. No matter what you do in life, you have to practice it. The mental side of the game, you have to practice that. It's not just a talking. You have to actually execute it, do it. fail, fail, fail. That's how you build the toughness and understand why you're failing.
Yeah. Totally agree. 1% better each day. It's about the process. You know, you set the big goals, of course, but it's not about that end goal per se. Like in the moment, each day, each training session, it's the process. How can I get 1%? I fully agree. You know, you gotta.
Yeah. And sorry, not to cut you, because people, sometimes you'll say, you know, yeah, the end goal. We all know our end goal. We all know. But some people just keep on like pounding at the end goal when they're still, they say 1% each day, but they're like, I just feel like I'm not getting there. They don't even understand what 1% looks like. You know, it could as simple as just step into the ball, just the right step, not the kick, just the approach that some people don't realize. They think it's the kick that they're getting wrong. I said it's your approach. It's not the kick. Anybody can kick a ball. It's how you want to kick it. Your approach is all what it takes. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. Fine details. Each little piece adds up. There's the saying like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That's it. You can't bite the whole leg. You're not big enough.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Can you share a significant challenge you faced as a trainer and how you've overcame it?
A difficult time in when I'm training. I would say training, I still have a player that is very, very tough on themselves, very tough on themselves. And it took me 3 years to break him to understand what we're doing, because he makes a mistake and he beats himself up. And I go back to him and I said, relax, remember, right? Mind, body, ball. If this is not clear, this won't follow right. And then the ball is going wherever, right? What are we trying to do? I don't know. No, you know. What are we trying to do? We're trying to do this. And he's giving me attitude. And I said, with this attitude, we won't get there. Back and forth, like, you know, but I don't give up. I don't give up on him because I know he can do it. And I know it takes time. So even myself as a coach, I have to give myself time instead of saying, I can't bother with this kid. He's killing me. Like, he's not listening. He's not, you know what I'm saying? This is a challenge. I need to take on this challenge. How long is it going to take me? I have to figure out what words to use with him for him to understand what we're trying to execute for himself. I said, forget about the game. This is now you. In real life, if you get frustrated like this and everything, nothing's going to work well. It's going to be very hard. And I said, I can't compare myself because people say I'm a little too easygoing at times. And so I myself have to look into myself and say, okay, I think I take it too easy every now and then. Maybe I could push a little bit more, be a bit more aggressive in certain ways. So I said to him, I myself have to learn how to push forward. I'll be a little aggressive in certain ways. Yourself, you have to be, now we're going to try and learn how to be less for yourself. So while I'm doing that with him, I have to like remind myself, hey, I'm the opposite of you. So I'm going to show you how I dealt with this. And also you're young. We have time, right? And last year he came to me, he goes, Coach, you know what? I feel like you're my therapist.
Love it.
So he's been one of my biggest challenge as a private coach, like coaching individuals, getting them to do the right thing for themselves before the football, because the football comes after. Build the individual. That's why we say build the individual in order for them to fit. So if you can have all the skills, and if things are not going your way, you get upset and you start making all these kind of passes because you're upset. That's where it crumbles. So when you build a strong mind and he understands what he got to do, it only gets better. So it took me 3 years. The challenge, I am like, I sit down and me and the mom have conversations and this and that. And within the first year, I come to realize, I said to the mom, is he a perfectionist at everything that he does? She goes, how do you know? I said, everything he thinks he needs to get it right away. I said, no. And that's why I said, you gotta break out of this mindset. That mindset is gonna tear you apart. He's like, but how? Like how? I said, time. This is gonna take time. And that's one of my biggest challenges.
I love that. So many strings to pull on here, but I think what it says about you as a coach and about just being a good coach in general is knowing how to tailor your approach to each individual player that you're training. And it can be, humbling to think you have it all sorted out and that you can be a great coach and that you just apply the same methodology to every player and it'll all work out. But no, each person's an individual. And as a good coach, as a good mentor, you got to tailor your approach. You got to tailor your language to them, even tailoring how you approach the steps of supporting them. I'd go as far as to say you can be a little bit manipulative, like positively manipulative, because
of course
you see their triggers and you can, pull the right strings, pull the right levers in them to get the best out of them.
That's what I have to do a lot of times. And then he goes, Coach, I had such a great session. And I said, boy, you have no idea what I had to do to get you to do what you just did.
Yeah, that's real. And again, like it seems like we're circling back a lot to mindset and the mindset of the athlete, but also the mindset of yourself. It's important
it's huge about the coach, because if the mindset of the coach is weak and ready to give up, it's over. It's over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So kudos to you, man. 3 years that's a long journey, short in the span of, if they're a young player, they have a long journey.
Exactly.
Yeah. Setting that foundation for players to have that right mindset, like who knows, not just in football, but in life, once they understand, they can overcome their perfectionism, or some players overcome anger issues or frustration or beating themselves up internally.
Internally, man.
In life, once they understand the right, way to approach things, that's life-changing as a coach. From maybe 8, 9, 10 years old, that could really change the trajectory of a person's life.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's what the biggest thing for me is, because I don't know if he's going to become a professional player. I said, that's why I bring life into it. I said, but in life, you have to learn how to not let your own self dig yourself mentally in a hole. You know what I'm saying? Understand it. I don't believe in perfection. I believe in progression. You know what I'm saying? We're always progressing in life. There's nobody in this world that's perfect, right? And I said that to him, and then he goes, but you can do this. I said, I can do it on a good day very well, but there's days that it's just like I come out and I'm like, what is going on? And he goes, I don't believe you. I said, let's not get into this part now. Let's focus on what we're doing. Cause now he's tapping in and he's also trying to figure out what I'm trying to say. It's like I'm trying to just tell him something, right? So he's trying to tell me, you got to prove it, which I can't prove it right now. I might and also I have to be careful, like what I do in front of him, because he's going to compare himself to me. And I said, you cannot compare yourself to me. I'm way above you. Skill wise, way past your level. I said, some days I come out and I said, hey, we're going to play soccer tennis. And he goes, yes. First 2 ball I gave him, we're going back and we're rallying nice and easy. Then I said, okay, now we're gonna step up now, because now it's gonna get competitive. Do not let this word competitive get in your head. We're gonna compete. There are 3 touches. This is where the competitiveness comes into play now. It's not just free, open. You're at the age now, and you're at the level where your touch, you can level up, right? First ball I gave him, he messes up. I said, we're done. We're moving on to something else. No. I said, I told you already, do not let that word get to you. No, coach, I'm good. Okay, let's go again. I gave him an easier ball. He took a touch and he passed it over. I gave him another easier ball. He's thinking ahead what to do next. So we played and we had some fun, and he's like, that game is so hard. I said, it was easy at start when you just freely. And that's life. When you're young and everything seems free, but as you get to that level of competition, it's gonna change. And I want you to understand that it's not gonna stay the same. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna have fun while you know how to do these things. When I'm playing, I know what I can do. I have fun with it. Right? So some people don't understand. You know, people are like, oh, soccer is so stressful. I said, everything is stressful. But when you understand it, it's not so stressful. You can play between the lines. Right? And then he's like, I don't know, man. I said, you're still young. Let's take your time. Let's work.
All right. So we've gone into training in depth, but let's transition to the soccer business side of things. So for trainers who are just getting started, how do you approach growing your business online, social media, or how do you approach potential partnerships?
With that, it takes time, especially partnerships. It takes time because you have to execute how they can benefit from you and how you can benefit from them. But first, how they can benefit from you. That's just how the business goes. It's just a business world. It's just a business piece of that. For yourself, you have to focus on what you want to do, how you want to go about it, and pin it and go. And as it word of mouth was what built everything I have. Even on my training side, like I have people calling me, hey, this player is training with you. How can this player come train with them? Do you do private training by itself, or do you do groups? And after a while, I had to oh my gosh, this is getting more than what I thought. But I've built it to a point where only 4 players, because it take away that session where everybody gets proper value and it's not just general. You know what I'm saying? So in that way, but to tell you the truth, it takes time. And nowadays people are spending money to grow, which is another way. You know what I'm saying? I call that investing. Because I feel like at some point, even myself, I still haven't invested in that side. I've been fortunate / lucky, you know what I'm saying? But also obviously put in the work, but I've been fortunate in that way to be able to have word of mouth help me build what I have. You know what I'm saying? With the freestyle and also the private training and stuff like that. When it comes to growing your business, I feel like nowadays in this time, I feel like paying to promote your page, broaden your reach to whomever that might not see it, because what you're doing, I always say, nothing that you're doing is different from what I am doing, that guy is doing, other guy is doing. The only thing changed is how we deliver the information. That's the only thing that changed. And I tell a lot of my players, do not think that just the way how I coach is going to be like how everybody coach. It's not, you don't see every team plays like Barcelona. You don't see every team plays like Liverpool. Every team has different philosophy. So when I'm going to give you a general understanding of how football is. And once you understand and you can control all 3, then there's different tactics that you'll be able to pick up just like this. So information is what really and truly is bringing a lot of people, because they like the information, how I deliver the information to the players. And that's why they want what I'm giving, this individual, so they want that for their child and stuff like that. And how I grow my business with the freestyle part is how I do my shows, how I interact with the people. I'm just genuine, a bubbly person. My wife's like, I sometimes I can't match your energy. You have too much energy for me, but that's just me, right? But everybody, I always say, put your personality into your business, You know what I'm saying? Don't shy away from who you are, because that's what's going to build that genuine individual that they want. They want to know who you are and how they also can benefit from you while you're going to benefit from them financially. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So what I'm picking up here is your online reputation. It matters, especially when it comes to partnerships. You know, you have to demonstrate what value you're giving or bringing to the world, whether that's information, entertainment, or you know, some really unique perspective on football. But at the end of the day, you know, building that reputation up online, building what you are offering, that will help not just for partnerships, but that also brings in opportunities for relationships with players' parents.
100%. 100%, because the brands, the partnerships that you want to gain, they want to know and see the people that follows you, the people that associate with you, how much people, the volume of people, so that they can be like, okay, this guy's seen like over 50 to 100 people, you know, in such and such time. That's all I need. You know what I'm saying? And they start off small with you. And as you start to grow more and more, they go and you start to say, hey, what about this or what about that? And they go, you know, it's not a bad idea. Here you go. Because you're bringing value to them. The kids now, I have kids like, oh my God, coach, look, I bought a pair of Puma boots. I'm like, but I thought you were Phantoms only. No, but you know, the ones that you had just look so amazing, you know? So that already, that everybody start buying and buying. People are reaching out to me. I've probably given my rep like maybe about 50 different people over there to them. And so they see that people are reaching out to me, want to get in contact with them. And I said, just here you go. He said, then it's just minimize who you're sending, okay? And yeah, I said, okay, I'll pick them wisely. You know?
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think the investment side of thing is also an important piece to touch on. As you mentioned, there's opportunities outside of the, you know, just organic, maybe slower approach, where if you do have the resources, doing that investment, whether it's financially into, you know, boosting posts or growing your reach, however, in that sense, or even like getting support and understanding, investing in ways to develop your business, whether it could be hiring a social media manager or something like that. But there are investments out there that can help individuals grow online. So I love that you brought that up too.
Yeah, no, because it's important, because not everyone have the time and the know-how how to build a social media profile, right? Platform. So if you go, you know what? And as you pay for it and you take the time to understand and see what they're doing and how they're doing it, then after a while, you can probably take it on for yourself. And be like, you know what? Okay, I got this. You know, one guy reached out to me a couple weeks ago, actually, about last week, actually. And he goes, hey, Dennis, how much would it be for me to pay you to help me build my page? I said, we're friends. You don't have to pay me. If I see something that you're doing and I like it and it fits my page, I'll share it. You know what I'm saying? I'll share it. But I have to be careful of how often I'm sharing it, because I have other people behind me going, how come you never share none of my stuff? Oh my God. So I have to kind of like balance, and, you know, it depends. As I said to them, it all depends on what it is that they want me to share, or if I like it myself, I share it. You know what I'm saying? And if it's my page or whatever. But I said, just take your time, grow your page. And trust me, the best way to build your page on a start, organically, allow the people around you to appreciate what you have. And then once you hit a certain level, you can start to boost your stuff. But you can start boosting it now. It all depends on how you want to go about it, how fast you want to grow. And not because you're paying, you can pay. I've seen people pay to boost their page, but there's no interaction. So it kills your page a bit too. Yes, you have the following, but you have no interaction. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of times on the business side, They want to see interaction on your page. They want to see how much people are commenting, not just the likes, the comments, like the interaction piece, like how many people are sharing your stuff. Where is it going? So they'll be like, you know what, this guy is getting some good traction. You know, your likes are a little low, but you're getting like 15 reshares. You know what I'm saying? And that's when people just, business side, they just want to know that it's going. And one thing that they ask, I don't know if you ever try getting sponsors from anybody, they ask, what's your reach? What's your reach like? Which country is your biggest, followers? For me, Puma was more interested in how much I have reach here in Canada, because this is where I'm based. They want to know that they're selling here within Puma Canada. You know what I'm saying? So I said, bro, at first I was like, I don't even know that. So I had to look it up to see how to find all that statistic stuff, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's when I had to put up my dashboard and I had to set up everything business wise, boom, 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 boom. So I can keep track of where our majority of my reach is going. So that's on the business side. They want to know what's your biggest reach, like, you know, Brazil or Turkey or England or India. You know what I'm saying? They want to know where it is so that they can be like, yeah, you might want to gain a bit more from here so that we can sell from here, you know? So in that way, yeah.
I love that. Yeah, there's lots of interesting intricacies to partnerships. It's not as easy as, oh, I'm a private trainer or I'm a soccer personality, give me free stuff. There is a little bit more to the story, and it's, you know, it takes a lot more investment in your business, not just financially, but in understanding the dynamics of, social media.
Yeah, of how it works. It's massive. And some people, I give them the information and they go, okay. I go, oh my God, Dennis, is this what you have to do? I said, no, not really. I've already built my stuff on a way. As I told you before, like, you know, they came at me when they were just coming into the country, right? They were just coming back into Canada. So I don't know if it was just luck, you know what I'm saying? I didn't understand the social media. I was just having fun. Now, if you look at my page, I pretty structure my page, business, also fun, because that's who I am. I can't just keep it just business. That's not Trixafa. You know what I mean? You gotta have some fun with it. But that's why I said, I think your personality should really come through your page. And that's what a lot of times they want. They want that personality. You know what I'm saying? Because then it's just like, who are you? Like, what are you about?
And that leads us to a good question. What are you about? With a nickname like Trix, it's clear you're known for incredible freestyle tricks and skills and engaging content. But can you share one of your more memorable experiences through freestyle that also taught you something valuable about soccer or life?
Good question, bro. That's a banger. Okay. Yeah. So when I was traveling a lot, I didn't really practice a lot. So when I started a tour in the US with a company right across the US for the World Cup, I was never big on doing choreograph stuff, right? And it took me some time to get my part down, right? And this is why I go back and say mind, body, ball. I have to control myself mentally. Okay, I know I have to do this. Get ready. Take off the pressure, right? Focus, blah, 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 blah. And then pass the ball off good. In myself, I'm like, I got this. Yeah, it took me some time, I'm telling you. And it was like, the guys are like, Dennis, what is going on? Like, oh my gosh. Like, you're the only one that's messing up every time. So you know what that's going to happen now. It's going to start playing on my confidence. You know, the guys are saying this and they're like, it's so easy. Just do this and do that. I'm like, bro, it's easy for you to say. You know, I'm trying my hardest. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question is, when I started traveling, when I started touring, and we had to have a choreograph set on when we go on doing our shows. And then right after the choreograph piece, we can freestyle, right? So that was one of my memorable moments that humbled me and taught me a lot, that it's not just all just fun and games. It is fun and games, again, once you understand it, right? But I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I had it all together. I thought I had it. I thought, you know, then I realized I still have to practice. As much as I had to practice for soccer, I had to practice my freestyle, make sure I land my move, make sure I'm giving a good pass, and I just get excited or too low and just dropping the ball too soon or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, wow, that question just brought me back to that. You know what I'm saying? That was a memorable moment for me in freestyle, how I had to really settle myself, pinpoint what I have to do, and get it done. And right after that, our tour was history, baby. We were like on par, like on beat. People are like, huh? Do you guys live together? How long you guys been doing this together? So, actually, it's just only been 3 weeks. But the first week, man, oh my God. I couldn't get my stuff together. I had to take my time. Luckily, the guys were like, you know what? Just take your time. That is, just focus on what you got to do. You know? And I got my groove. I got my mojo. And I'm like, okay, bang.
Love that. And that plays into, you know, working on the process, the 1%, mind, body, all everything we talked about comes into, you know, that story there. And it goes to show that once you master all of that, you can go through an obstacle or challenge and come out on the other side and just crush it. So thank you for sharing.
Man. Yeah. You brought that back in. I forgot about that, man. I don't know if I forgot it or if I was trying to forget it.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's a great story of overcoming adversity. So absolutely remember that and pass that nugget of wisdom on.
For real.
All right. So we're coming to the end of the show here, and we're going to have a poll on our socials that I'd love to ask you here and now. As a trainer and someone involved in, you know, soccer as a player, etc. The question is team training enough to develop as a player?
No. And that's why they need good individuals like us to help develop individuals. And as I said before, to make a great team, you need great individuals. And as we said before, like some coaches at the young age, they only focus on team. They don't get to develop the individual. So are they developing players or are they developing team? You know what I'm saying? That's a different thing.
Absolutely. Personally, I agree, of course, as a private trainer, but just in general, you know, you can have really good team setups, really good coaches, and environments that train technique. But at the end of the day, you know, if you're only training with the team once or twice a week, you got to fill in the gaps and get your supplemental training in, whether it's with a coach or just by yourself. Training by yourself and getting those repetitions, getting the hours in, for me is so important.
I feel like, okay, here's a question for you. At what age do you think is appropriate for a player to train on their own?
Yeah, that's great. Because if they don't have an understanding of how to train effectively, if they're too young, then they're not going to get the most out of it. I see you with that. So, hey, depending on the age, a young age, whether
I don't think it's even age.
Yeah, definitely the awareness level of actually what football is and how you need to, you know, execute football actions. If you don't have that understanding, your practice might be a bit worthless.
Yeah, you're pretty much. And I was saying the same thing to somebody, and they're like, oh, you know, I was gonna put my son into soccer, but you know, it's so hard. Or the coaches like, just to let you know, like, you know, your son or your daughter, you know, they need to in order to become a really good player or get to the pro level, they have to at least hit that 10,000 touches on the ball. I said yes and no. You can do 10,000 wrong touches and you've not reached anywhere, right? You can do 10,000. So when you're telling a kid, you need to make sure that you're getting 10,000 touches on the ball. You can do 10,000 touches and don't even get what you want. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand because you don't understand. So it doesn't even come with age. It comes with how much you've been developed as an individual right? So if you know what you're capable of, you know what a touches look like because the coach tell you, even if it's your team that you've been coaching, that you've been training with, and your coach take the time to explain each and every one of you what to do, how to do it, what to call doing it, and you take the time and you remember. I said to my players, hey, I want you to go home and I want you to practice, but do not just practice. Remember what I said for you to practice. And then they go, yeah, I remember. I said to the mom, they won't remember. And then, and then they call me, hey coach, what was it that you said I should do again? I said, right here, I love this because you're taking the time now to call me to ask for a reminder of what, instead of going at home. I don't remember what coach said to do anyways. I'm done. So you taking the time and calling me, I like this. So I said, I'll send you a video. I'll send you a video of what to do. And don't overcomplicate it. Just do this. And the next time I see you, I want to see 1% improvement. They go, 1%? Coach, I'll master this. They come back. I said, how was it? I'll try. And then they go, but I was doing it at home. And I said, what's the problem now? They go, I don't know. I said, because it's pressure. I'm here to let you know if you're doing it right or wrong. So you feel pressured. And he goes, no. But my dad was watching me. I said, all right, your dad's not your coach. I'm your coach. You want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. If your dad, you're like, whatever. He doesn't know anyway. You know what I'm saying? I know. So you feel that energy. You feel that pressure. And a lot of time I'm not even pressuring them. I said, go ahead, show me what you do. And they're like, but at home, I was doing it so perfect. I said, to you, it looked perfect. But I remember, there's no perfection. There's progression. You look better from what we did last time, but still need work. And that's why we're here. I said, why are we here? We're here for a reason, to help you to get where you gotta go. Right? Yeah, but I said, lift your head up. Let's get to work.
Nice. And yeah, that's why we're here as trainers, is to help with those techniques so that they're not taking those 10,000 wrong touches. And to plug my last conversation with a collegiate coach, he doesn't want to receive players at that college level and need to retrain them from the wrong things that they learned at a young age. So it's so important to get it right in the beginning, to then have that success at that higher, competitive level. That's a great plug for the other trainer spotlight sessions that we have. And we've hit time here. So I appreciate you so much, Trix. Thank you for just collabing, being willing to share your insights and wisdom. And I'll definitely, link your goodness, all of your videos and stuff in the bio. But is there any last words you'd like to share here?
All you young players, all your players that want to go play in college, if you're not playing for a good team or even a team that's been recognized, that the coaches at the college level, is looking for, your chance of making that team is very slim. It's not impossible. Remember that. You'll get a try to try out, but it's not impossible. But you'd have to really, have it all here in order to even get on that team or on the bench. But that's it for me.
Amazing. And they can just, hire Trix to help them reach that level to make the team.
And likewise yourself. That's what we're pretty much saying, you got to reach out and us. That also, I have some connections with different colleges as well. That, I'm saying that I can reach out to the coach and say, hey, I have this young player that I'm working with. They're not playing anywhere right now. And they go, thank you very much, Trix. That's it. Or I say, hey, I have a player that I'm working with. They're playing for this and this team. All right. They're in the school. Tell them to come and see me, So if you're not playing for a team, you might want to join a team first before you think about playing college soccer, because when I played college soccer, the window was only, I think it was 8 games with the finals, if you make it to the finals. So there's no time for, trying to teach you how to control a ball. It's not going to happen. Where you coming from? What can you do? let me call your coach and see what kind of player you are. And that's it. Then I can choose them on my team. Or if I heard about you, I don't have to ask any questions. I know what you're capable of doing. That's it.
Nice. Much appreciation. Thank you for being here, and we'll catch you later.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it, man.